Back on Texans Radio, John Harris here alongside new defensive line coach, former linebacker. So he's been around, changing a little bit. My man, Bobby King. Coach, first of all, how are you doing, my friend? How's this offseason been?
Outstanding. It's great to have the players here and couldn't be more fired up about the group I'm working with. So all well right now, John.
Coach, I know when people hear linebackers and you move to defensive line, it seems like a big transition. I know it's got to be. What's been the biggest factor for you this offseason in kind of making that transition from coaching guys standing up, playing linebacker, to hands on the ground, playing defensive line?
Don't tell anybody. It's a big secret, but I'm a D lineman at heart now. Okay, that's what I played. And to be honest with you, besides these last couple of years, I've always been involved with the pass rush. Because, when we go nickel defense back in the day, you know what I'm saying? That you're working with the OLBs, they become defensive ends. So I've always been involved, but couldn't be more fired up. So it's been a good transition.
Coach, you got a number of different players added to the scheme. Malik Collins, Vincent Taylor. What have you seen from the veterans that have been added? I'll ask you about your rookie in a second, but what about the veterans that have been added? What are they bringing to the defensive line bouillabaisse, if you will?
You know what? It's since day one with these guys. I'm talking about even with the Zoom calls before we met in person. I mean, it's been a hungry, competitive group in a good way. And they go out there and battle. I don't have to tell them to work. Some groups with vets and stuff, you got to kind of prod them along. Not this group. They come out there and they are fired up, ready to roll, wanting more. And it's been a joy so far, and look forward to training camp, obviously, when the pads come on.
Coach, I've asked Lovey about this, about a 3-4 defense last year. And look, I know, and you know as well, in the NFL, things are, they kind of blur the lines at 3-4-4-3. But one thing Lovey said to me that really stood out, he said, I'm really a believer in a 4-man down line. How does that play with the group? How does that play for you? How does that make things different? The fact that it is going from a 3-4 to a 4-3. And does that make coaching that group that much more different because the scheme is different from what it was last year?
You know what? Like you just said at the beginning of the question, we've done a lot of this stuff, but our base defense was a 3-4. There's no doubt about that. But the biggest thing, John, is we're going to be in 3-point stances a majority of the time. And that's going to be the big thing for the defensive ends. And they're hungry to do it, and they're loving it so far. So, 2-point stance, it's not going to be around.
Yeah, no doubt. Guys putting their hands in the dirt, literally putting their hands in the dirt is kind of nice. Coach, you saw it from a different perspective last year, but now you see it up close with Ross Blacklock. He's going into his second year. The 2020 COVID year was different for everybody. I would imagine for rookies, it was a wild thing going on. How do you feel like Ross is acclimated to a new system, and what do you want to see from Ross Blacklock in year two?
Which I've told Ross, this is pretty much his first offseason in the NFL. It's not pretty much it is because of last year. And so he's learning on the fly. He's getting better every day. And I'm expecting big things from Ross. I mean, he's a great kid. He's got a lot of ability. Now we got to tap into it and look forward to what he's going to do for us this year.
Coach, this is always a fun question because in the offseason, you guys don't get to put pads on. And so you hear coaches say, well, it's 7-on-7 time and it's this and it's that. But there's still a lot to get done at every single position, even if you're not putting on the pads. What's the focus for you with the defensive line this offseason when you can't put the pads on? You can't just go bang and hit and do those things. What are you focused on with this defensive line during this offseason period?
Obviously, learning the scheme is the number one thing. You have to learn it's a new language. We've done a lot of these blitzes in the past, but it was called something different. So it's like knowing English and learning Spanish. So they have to learn the whole new language. And then with me, John, it's all technique and it's all fundamentals. Learning how to win, learning how to pass rush, learning how to defeat a block. So that's what we've been concentrating on, those things.
And you get a draft pick added to the mix too, Roy Lopez. I know rookies obviously don't have anything guaranteed to them, but you got a young man that grew up as a wrestler. He grew up a coach's kid. There are a lot of things to like about Roy. What have you seen early from Roy in his early career here with the Texans?
So far, Roy's been great. He's a smart kid, like you talked about. He's got some big legs. He's strong lower half. I mean, huge legs. So I'm hoping once the pads get on, what I'm thinking right now is he's going to be a tough guy to move. And he's a great kid. He's a sponge. He's a guy that's not saying a whole lot right now. He's a man of action, and I think some good things are in the future for Roy.
Coach, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do this in person down the road.
You got it, John.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.